Welcome back, folks. Hey, have you ever heard of rent to own real estate investing? Well, it holds a place near and dear to my heart because that's what I did for a number of years. And today's special guest, Armond Wright, zooming in all the way from beautiful Indiana, is a rent to own real estate entrepreneur extraordinaire. He's been doing this for a number of years. He's got it dialed in, and I'm excited to chat with him. Armond, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Couldn't be better, my friend. So tell me, what first inspired you about real estate, and did you get started right from day one doing rent to own, or did you do something else first?
Well, what it started me off with real estate. My grandfather got me started when I was
Really?
very, very young.
How
Yes, I
did
was like
how did that
7
happen?
years
That's
old.
always that's got to be a cool story.
Yes, absolutely. I was like 7 years old, just helping him out in the yard and just kind of watching how he took care of the properties and how he dealt with with the family members collecting rent and things like that. It was amazing experience from going from the standpoint of starting off helping him out. As I got older, I got more involved with dealing with different issues and contractors, and eventually pretty much taking over the properties.
Wow. So how many properties did your grandfather have when you were a kid? Do you remember?
Absolutely, not many, but just the
That's
way
good.
he went about doing things. I mean, he had a pretty smooth process. I wanted him to kind of like, try to buy the city, but he had
Mhm.
a duplex, and then we had a house that was kind of used as like a 3 unit. So
Okay.
just those two.
And that he was happy with that, and that was providing him a good income and a good retirement fund and whatever. And he was happy. That's good. There's
Yes,
nothing
yes,
wrong with
yes,
that,
yes,
man. Nothing wrong.
yes.
Okay, so you saw that from an early age. What
Hmm.
did your first couple of deals look like, Armin? And what at what age did you actually start buying properties or doing real estate deals?
Well, was always looking. I would make offers and go through an inspection period, but didn't quite pull the trigger. I think I got my first property. I was like 28 when I got
Okay.
my first property,
Was that like
and
a buy and hold rental like your grandfather had before, or what kind of property was it?
well, that one when I was 28, it was actually my own personal home,
Okay, so
and
what was your
then
first revenue property then? That's
my first revenue property was a duplex, like what my grandfather had. I
got
bought a
it.
duplex.
All right. So
Um,
then what got you from doing what your granddad did, buying hold of single family homes and small multis into the rent to own business?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So, like my grandfather, I wanted to see him try to buy the whole city. So as soon as I got in position where I can buy multiple properties, that's exactly what I did. I had a 15-unit apartment building, a 4-unit apartment building, a couple of duplexes, and I had houses all across the city.
Wow. So
Yeah,
which city is this? Which city is
this is in Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio? Okay, very good.
Yes.
So you built up
So
quite a significant portfolio pretty quickly, it sounds
absolutely,
like. Yeah,
absolutely.
nice.
I was, real proud of that. And 2008, when the market took a turn, I took a turn with it. A lot of
Oh,
people like to
jeez. Yeah,
like to
lots of
blame it
people.
on the
We can laugh.
on
We
the
can laugh
economy.
now. It's been long
Yes,
enough that we could look
yes,
back at that. But it was painful as
yes.
hell at that time.
I'm really just now really kind of comfortable talking about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just look at it. It's kind of like lack of a skill because I kind of learned a lot of stuff on my own before I got a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and all rentals, and some of them were cash flowing good, some wasn't hardly cash flowing, but that I learned a valuable lesson then. So I lost everything, man. I mean, I quit my job. I had all those properties, so I didn't have a job, so I was doing this full time, and I lost all the houses. My own personal home got foreclosed on. My own
Jeez.
car got repossessed. So when I went back to work, I went back to work in a U-Haul truck. So I was
Wow.
driving a U-Haul truck
With
to
all your
work.
stuff in the back.
No, I got an apartment, so I have my
Yeah.
stuff in the apartment. But for the first few days, I was driving a U-Haul truck. It was a very, very humbling experience.
Yeah.
Going back to work, after you had all that success. But life happens. And you teach some valuable lessons.
Those
So
are those are some pretty amazing lessons. If you don't mind me asking, Armin, I'm just curious, what kind
mhm.
of what kind of work were you doing? What kind of work did you go back to?
For majority of my career, I was a supervisor at a factory. At that particular time, I took on a position with PepsiCo. So I
Okay.
was a supervisor there, but just going back to work, period, after having
All
so
right.
much success, it was very, very humbling experience.
All
But
right. Now, a lot of people that would have just turned them off of real estate forever, and they would
yes,
have just kind of said resign themselves to being an employee for the rest of their lives. Obviously, that didn't happen to you, but you
right.
definitely switched gears. So tell me about climbing out of that deep, deep hole that you were in financially
Well,
and emotionally and mentally and everything.
yes,
That was tough.
yes. Well, I always, I come from a very humbling beginning. So, I come from, a situation where we didn't have much, even though I, was making, millions of dollars and all that went back in reverse. So I come from a situation where I didn't have much, so long as, just being thankful, being grateful, I got my health and, I do have a job, I have a place where I can put some food on the table and things like that. So I knew I was going through a season. I knew it wasn't going to last forever.
Yeah.
And then, I just, always loved real estate. At this time, I wanted to do better. So I sought out a mentor. And that's when I learned these seller financing strategies. Because, before I had built up my credit, I built up some money. So now I didn't have no money, no credit. How am I do this? So
Time
with
to
these,
time to get creative. I hear you,
yes,
man.
yes, yes.
That's how I first got started in real estate because I had no money and no credit when I first got
Right,
started. So
right.
yeah. So then, okay. So you learned a little bit about that. What were your first forays into creative real estate investing, and more or less, what year would that have been, Armond? Just to get an idea.
2009, that's when I really
So
started
you didn't
cranking the,
waste any time, man. I mean, everything went to crap. The
right,
portfolio
right,
evaporated. You didn't take much time to wallow in your sorrows. You got back on the horse pretty
right,
quickly.
right.
Good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that had a lot to do with me really wanting to be in the business, and also along the journey you surround yourself by different individuals that's in the business. And I had one of my friends; he was kind of doing some seller financing as
Okay.
well as some wholesaling deals, and so from talking with them and kind of encouraged me to kind of go along the same way. Wasn't as big checks like I was kind of used to, but still those small checks beats no checks.
And compared to what you're making at your job, they might have been pretty good. Who
Oh
knows?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. But
Yeah.
before I had got like $140,000 checks, a couple
Yeah.
$100,000 checks. I was doing really, really, really good
Yeah.
before.
And until you
Yes,
weren't. Okay. So
until
then
it wasn't.
so you got into the creative. What were you doing wholesaling at the beginning? What kind of deals did you do at the very
Lease
beginning?
options, not so much wholesaling.
Okay.
This mainly, I took a liking to the lease options. So what I was doing, particularly wholesaling lease options. So lease options, that was my thing. I was putting lease options together in Missouri, Ohio, Indiana, and
So maybe
really
walk us through that. What does that mean for folks that aren't familiar with rent to own, when they aren't familiar with lease options? You
mhm,
say you're putting together these lease option deals in multiple different areas.
right.
What does that actually look like, Armand, if you don't mind explaining?
Yeah, so we have a conversation with the seller, and basically we get them to agree. They agree to sell their property with a lease with the option to buy.
Right.
So what I was doing, once I get the property under contract with the lease with the option to buy, I would wholesale that agreement for a fee
And you would wholesale that to who?
to someone who's looking to live in the property, to a what we call a tenant buyer. So that's what I was doing.
Okay. Very, very interesting. So that's cool. I haven't heard of that too often, Armand. So bottom line is you were finding motivated sellers that had properties that they wanted to, not have to deal with. They didn't want to
Right,
be paying the bills on them anymore. They didn't want to have to worry about maintenance and repairs on these kind of properties. They weren't able to sell them for whatever reason traditionally. So
right,
they were open to the idea of you coming in, renting, leasing the property from them with an option to purchase at a future date at a specified price. And I would have
right.
guessed that part of your lease was an agreement that, hey, if the toilet clogs up, you'd take care of it. And they wouldn't have to worry about the nitpicky side of things. And
Yes,
then so what I was doing this back in the day, I wouldn't wholesale them. I would hold on to them. Then I would find a tenant buyer, put the tenant buyer in that property, different rent, higher price, higher end price, and be making some cash flow and hopefully a little bit of a difference at the end, plus getting an option fee up front to make the whole deal happen and
Right.
babysitting them along the way. But you did it differently. You would just basically sell the opportunity to the tenant buyer. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So give or take would that be for the equivalent of what they would have had to come up with for the option fee, or how were you charging for these kind of deals?
Usually I would make anywhere between 2 to 5,000, and most of the time, on the vast majority of them, the seller would want equivalent to like a first month's rent and the security deposit, and I
Right.
would charge over that, so I would get the difference. Or sometimes we would just split whatever down payment would come in.
Okay. Very
And
good.
yes.
Yeah. So then that's kind of nice because there's a pop of cash for
Hmm.
you creating the opportunity for two people,
Right.
but you don't have to babysit anybody throughout the whole process, and
Right.
just you're done once you're done and you go on to the next one. So you had to become very good at finding motivated sellers and potential tenant buyers for that particular property.
Right. Right.
Got it. Okay. So how long did you do those kind of rent to own deals for?
Oh, well, I still do those.
Okay.
I don't wholesale them anymore. Now I pretty much utilize the private money to buy the properties and kind of do it for myself. But far as the wholesaling piece, I did that for quite a while because I was doing them, but I wasn't doing them consistently. Like say I was doing maybe 1 or 2 a month initially, just getting used to it and just tweaking the process until I got to the point where I was doing like 1 or 2 a week for a
Wow.
long time. Yeah, I was doing like 2 deals a week for a while, a long time. So at that point in time, it built up some cash, put towards some of that, straighten out my credit, pay off some of that old debt,
Yeah.
turn some things around. And as I was doing those deals, I added on the wholesaling. So now I'm wholesaling cash deals and I'm
Uh-huh.
wholesaling these lease options, and I was wholesaling contract deals. And as I was doing those, with the power of the internet,
Yeah.
so I was showing my daughter how to drive, and I had her interview me in Toledo, just kind of talk about some of the deals that I was doing and put it out there on the internet. And these gentlemen out of Dubai seen the seen the video, right? It sounds weird. I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
weird because you look at my YouTube channel. I don't have a lot of views, but I mean, you don't have to have a lot of views on your social media as long as that right person see it. I mean, it could be a life changing, So the gentleman out of Dubai seen my video, and he watched it. He gave me a call. It was like 11:30 at night. Gave me a call. I always answer my phone. I would give it 1 or 2 in the morning. We could talk real estate 24/7.
Wow.
And he said, Armand, he said, I want to buy some houses. And I was like, okay. I mean, a lot of people, they call you, they say
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So he said he wanted to buy 100 houses. And he says, just one problem. He said, I was like, what's that? He said, I don't have any money. So I laughed. Most people probably would have hung up. I thought that was funny, because I was like, man, I'm in the same position too. I want to buy 100 houses. I don't have any money.
You think if he was calling you from Dubai, he might have some money. Yeah.
Right. So that goes back to what I share with folks. It's like so much is not your situation, right? Your situation, whatever your situation is, whatever your bad credit, lost your job, you had a blown up situation. It's just a temporary situation. That doesn't determine your success.
Right.
What determines your success is how you connect with other folks. Like here, at that time, I had limited resources, and that's what was determining my outcome because I wasn't reaching out to connect with different folks. By him being in Dubai, he was a connector. So he went from having whatever, he did have some money. He had like 75,000, but he went from 75,000 from the time we connected. 90 days later, he had raised over $3 million.
Wow. From his connections in Dubai.
Dubai. Oh, he was bigger than that. Dubai, Germany. He was giving presentations. He was it was very, very good speaker. And so we did go on to buy 100 houses in less than a year. That was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, I was in 9 cities, 3 different states. It was
now, when you say buy 100 houses, you mean do 100 deals, or you were doing buy and hold at this point?
buy and hold at the, along my journey, I got a real estate license and
Okay.
became a real estate broker. So I have, with working with him, I developed a property management company. So I was the property manager, realtor for him. And
Okay.
so
Got it.
I was buying and holding for him, but made a significant amount of money doing that.
Yeah.
And with that amount of money, set to the side, and I started really ramping up, rebuilding my portfolio.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. You just never know. You just never know. 11:30 at night, phone call
Take
ring.
that call. Yeah. That
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Always answer your own phone.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So what year would that have been, give or take?
That was in 2017.
Okay.
Yep.
So
So
since
I had
then, yeah.
acquired a few properties prior to that, where, I was doing my contract strategies. But after that, I was really able to really ramp things up.
So then what did you start doing after that, Armond? What did you get back into doing, buy and hold, or what kind of deals did you end up focusing on then?
I stick to my lease option land contracts. I still do those deals.
Yeah.
And then learning from the past, I'm really not too big. I mean, I do use private lenders, but I had one little step to it. Like, say if I'm using money from private lenders, I try to pay it off as soon as possible. Because I took a bath back in 09, so the only thing I used to protect myself and just try to reduce the debt as much as possible. Then plus I got like I said, I take pride in structuring great deals, not good deals, but great deals.
Yeah.
Got 5 deals in Toledo where I paid $3,000 a piece. And sold them, as is. Just a couple weeks ago, like I said, great deals, not good deals, but great deals. I got 4 properties, right? 4 properties to pay $10,000 a piece for them, and that sounds good. But I brought in my private lender that I accessed $20,000. So each deal I put $10,000 in my pocket.
Right.
So that's pretty much zero. And then the properties, I got one that's renting out for $1,000, and then a few other ones like $650. I mean, yeah, it's just a really, really awesome situation. Then it's another deal that's a great deal. It was $35,000, but I put a little cash with it and I accessed my private lender. But $35,000, zero rehab. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Is worth about $190.
Nice. So
Yeah.
so these are the ones that you're keeping in your long-term buy and hold portfolio. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, pretty much everything I do now, I look to keep into long-term strategy. So my thing is what a lot of people say: cash flow is king. So that's what I look to do, is just create that monthly cash flow and just keep cranking it up.
But you're still doing the lease options, is that correct?
Lease options, but only for myself. I don't do the wholesaling part.
Yeah.
Occasionally somebody might. I just had a lady contact me the other day as just do like a traditional realtor transaction, but for the most part, I buy the properties for myself, and then I either sell them through a land contract or a lease option.
Okay, so you're not really holding on to them forever. You're selling them via some sort of a contract to increase your cash flow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Got it. Well, man, this is fantastic, Armond. What would you say throughout this whole roller coaster journey over the last, my God, 15, 17 years, 20 years, I guess, plus since you really got started? What's been like your biggest takeaway from this whole experience so far?
My biggest takeaway, what I share with people is, and the people think they can learn a lot through YouTube University and different sources. Find a mentor, because if I'd have had a mentor in the beginning, I wouldn't have went through that. I mean, it was devastating. I mean, it was bad, man. I couldn't get toilet paper on credit. I mean, it was horrible, man. Yeah. So, I would say, for people, starting off, find a mentor. And, if you can't afford a mentor, maybe you can volunteer your time to go work with someone. But find a mentor, somebody who can kind of help, navigate your way through, throughout the business. It is really.
Well,
really
don't beat yourself up too badly, Armond. A lot of people who had mentors at that time lost their shirts. A lot of mentors at that time lost their shirts as well.
Jesus.
So don't beat yourself up too bad. You took your licks, you learned your lessons, and you're doing very, very well now. If people would like to connect with you, Armond, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way to get in touch with me would be on Instagram, and it's Armond Wright, the number 1 on Instagram. So Armond, Armond, Wright, Wright, 1 on Instagram. That'd be the best way to contact me.
That sounds easy enough. All right, my friend. Good to see you. And hey, thank you for a very inspiring story. That was awesome.
And one other thing that I want to say thank you for inspiring me to go to the next level when it comes to private money. Because when we had our interview initially, I mean, just your, interacting with me and just, opening my mind up to the possibilities of really going out here seeking more private money, which allowed me to do more deals. So I really want to thank you.
My pleasure. What, just out of curiosity, what part of what you learned with us really kind of clicked with you and you've run with it, Armond?
Don't recall like just one thing. It's just the fact of just you sharing with me your experience and how you're go out and raise private money. That just inspired me just to go out there and just to start talking to more folks and just get to looking and putting more deals together.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've been able to raise some pretty serious capital over the last little while?
Yeah, I got one awesome connect. I mean, it's amazing. I got one awesome connect, and then I got another source that's pretty good as well. But awesome. Yeah, it's just amazing. You just go out here, and how I got it is another good takeaway too. Just going out, just trying to help people, right? So the more people you help, the further along you're going to go. And really, you're not helping people with the mindset of, what can I get out of it? You're helping people because that's the right thing to do. Yeah. And then you go out here and you start helping people, and you just be surprised of how your life will change.
Oh, that's wonderful, Armond. Well, thanks for sharing that. And good reconnecting with my friend. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode. Take care. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.